Hello and welcome inside the Tauros locker room for week 3 of Tauros Weekly. Nick, they haven't kicked us out of here yet.
It's kind of like AC/DC Runaway Train, man. This thing's picking up steam and people are liking it. I think it's great. This is the time of the year that you want to hear what's going on in the locker room and from some of these guys. So, again, great job to the organization. And, I mean, we're in a battle for first place in the division. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, we before we get going, breaking down the weekend and talking about how the standings line up, if you're enjoying the show, you get kind of a live version tomorrow night. Tauros Awards, we're going to have a couple panels. You and I are going to lead. We're going to hand out some hardware to some of the players who've been playing well. Should be a fun show tomorrow night.
Well, I couldn't find your size Wranglers over at the boot barn. I was going to dress you up like a cowboy, so you're just going to have to dress yourself. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's something that Tauros fans should get out and take part in. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Should definitely be. We did the fan favorite balloting over the weekend, and a lot of guys picked up a lot of votes. You and I picked up some votes too. Actually, we had some write-ins. We didn't count them. Colin Thompson, our photographer, got a couple. Marty got some. Seemed like just about everyone. Tank got a few write-in votes, but the winning number came out to 117 of the almost 1,000 votes cast. So an awesome job by our fans voting for that. 117 to 105 will tell you who the top two were at the awards banquet.
That's fantastic. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And, the more things that continue to interact our fans, kind of like this show, the better it is. And I think there's good things to come. And tomorrow night's going to be a lot of fun.
Speaking of a lot of fun, this weekend a lot of fun. Tauros took 3 out of 4 points. Record attendance on Friday night, 1,551 fans here at the Mesa. The place was rocking. A little bit smaller, about 1,420 something on Saturday, but another awesome atmosphere. Just a fun weekend and some good hockey.
I think that Joe at the Minot Daily newspaper had the right idea. That picture from Colin Thompson of Pionk's fight on Saturday night, kind of saying this is what you missed out on Friday and Saturday night. And I know that fighting isn't the biggest part of hockey. I know that we're going in a different direction, but guess what? There's intensity here at the Mesa Arena, and when you've got that many people inside this venue, boy, was that a lot of fun to be a part of. And I think that anyone that bought a ticket certainly enjoyed themselves, and if they didn't, you're in the wrong spot, because that's what you should be in store for and expecting in the playoffs.
Certainly. Let's start with Friday night. Tauros won 3-2. How about that first goal from Matt Jennings? Stealing the puck from the goaltender and then banking it in off the goalie as he tried to get back to the net.
I think that's what Marty was saying about this kid when we got him on the trade, that this is a guy that's going to create some firework-filled plays like that. And I think that that's exactly what he was talking about. And it was just a hard work play. That's you kids that will see this highlight coming up later in the show. That's why you give 110% when you're out there. That's why you skate till the whistle. That's why you go after it. And that's exactly what he did. That was a highlight reel goal.
Certainly was. It looked like just a harmless dump in, and the next thing you know, it's in the back of the net. Then on Saturday night, 3-2 overtime loss. Christian Mose picked up an assist and moved him to 99 points as a Toro. You think he's going to get to 100 next weekend?
I think that Mosey won't have a problem getting to 100 career points. But I think what I take away from Saturday night is that it was a hard fought game. I think both nights that the Toros, they came out on Friday night and they dominated the first. Austin dominated the second on Friday night. Toros regrouped in the room heading into the third. They came back and they won the hockey game. And I think the Toros controlled play for 40 of the 60 minutes. I think on Saturday night it was a little bit tougher of a game. I think that we still had control of the game. Boy, did I feel bad for Lucas Murray, our goaltender. He let in a muffin, and it kind of cost us. We went to overtime, but nothing that the kid needs to hang his head about. I mean, that's going to happen. We're going to talk to Marty about that later. I want to ask him his thoughts on it and what do you say to a kid. But at the end of the day, you got to score more than the other team does, and we fell short in a real exciting overtime 3-on-3.
Yeah, the 3-on-3 overtime. The Toros' speed was on display. It seemed like the Toros had almost probably 4 or 5 more chances than Austin. I don't know that any team has the speed to keep up with the Toros.
Wow. Well, certainly when you get into that overtime situation, and I think that when going back and watching it, I watched that whole game on Fast Hockey on the replay, and that overtime, you're watching it, and I don't know what happens to me when I watch these games. When I'm at the rink and DJing and playing the lights and announcing, sometimes I don't get to watch the whole thing. I'm watching this overtime on the replay going, wow, we pounded these guys. How didn't we win? And Friends hit a crossbar in there, and some stuff happened, and it was very exciting, and you're not going to win them all. I mean, you play 60 games in a year plus. You get to postseason, preseason. You're going to have some losses like that. But I think the biggest takeaway for me, Ken, you mentioned it. You take 3 or 4 points on the weekend, and you have a pretty all right crowd. Both nights would be an understatement. I think it was a big successful weekend.
Certainly. Now we'll take a look at updated standings. Bismarck they swept the Magicians over the weekend, so that means they're now 3 points ahead of the Tauros. They've got 76. We're sitting at 74. Austin, by getting the 2 points on Saturday, they moved up to 60. They've clinched that third place spot. Brookings and the Magicians tied at 54, and Aberdeen pulling up the rear at 53, but all three of those teams still alive for that last playoff spot, Nick.
53 and a pair of 54s for the final spot in the postseason. And, here's the scary thing. Minot plays Brookings that's trying to get in. Minnesota Magicians are playing Bismarck that are trying to get in. Those are the ones that I'm really keeping my eye on with us in Bismarck. You sweep a weekend and get a little help from Minnesota. Next thing you know, we could be Central Division's top team, but at the end of the day, we've got home ice moving into the postseason, and that's really what matters.
All right, well, we'll be back with Tauros head coach Marty Murray and a special guest, Brad Porter, joining us. He'll speak for the ownership group, and we'll talk to them a little bit after this here on Tauros Weekly.
Meet the professionals of Trinity Sports Medicine. Trinity Sports Medicine has been serving the region's athletes and physically active population for more than 25 years. All of the athletic trainers at Trinity Sports Medicine are licensed in North Dakota and work side by side with Sports Medicine Medical Director Dr. Dawn Mattern to ensure the best possible care. Our professionals provide specialized medical care for preventing and treating injuries for the active people in our community. These medical professionals work hard to keep you healthy. But if an injury does happen, you can rely on the skilled athletic trainers to get you moving or back in the game again. It doesn't matter if you play for a competitive sports team or enjoy being active to stay healthy. You are part of the Trinity Sports Medicine family.
Welcome back inside the Tauros locker room here on Tauros Weekly. Joining us now, head coach Marty Murray and Brad Porter, who speaks for the ownership group here in Minot. Welcome in, guys.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Marty, a tough loss on Saturday, but 3 out of 4 points over the weekend, a 750 clip. You can't be too upset about it. Overtime 3-on-3 is kind of a coin toss, right?
It is, and we had some real good opportunities in OT. I think we had a couple point blank. I think Friends hit the crossbar, and that could have went either way. But overall, 3 out of 4 points isn't too bad. Obviously, with the way the division's shaping up, it would have been nice to get all 4, but we'll take it. And more importantly, I feel good about the way our team is playing.
Marty, for you, a question I have. I was a goaltender myself back in the day, and Murray gives up a pretty soft one. What do you say to a kid like that? That's it. Almost in his mind could maybe define a season. It shouldn't. But what's your message to him?
It happens, and it happens to the best of them. I told him after the game. I remember watching Marty Brodeur in the NHL playoffs, and he went up to play a puck, and I think it hit the heel of his stick, and he deflected in his own net from an icing call, or I think it was maybe even a shorthanded situation. And it happens to the best of them, and that's just part of the game. Unfortunately, when the goalie makes a mistake, he's kind of under the microscope there, and everybody takes notice. But Lucas is a competitor. He works hard every day. He's a great teammate, and he'll bounce back. And we win as a team, and we lose as a team.
Good.
Brad, now this division I think has been the toughest in the league. You look top to bottom, no one's eliminated mathematically from the playoffs yet. How much do the owners talk about the competitive balance within the division and the league?
Well, I think they all talk about it constantly because it's everyone in the league is very competitive. That's why it makes it such a good league. The Central talks about it probably more than anyone because it's kind of the hotbed of the league. We're so close to Minnesota, and a lot of that ownership groups are very hockey conscious, whereas the South is more of an entertainment value, if you will. And by and large, winning is everything. So it's talked about a lot.
Now, I don't mean to sound like I'm bad-mouthing the South here, but I think isn't winning hockey entertaining? So if they're focusing on entertainment, I think we've put a good product on the ice, and I think you see it just with a record crowd this weekend.
I don't know. From my background, there's different types of hockey, if you will, and they have a different brand of hockey down there. When you talk to the boys that have come back up here, Matt Jennings and whatever, he's commented on the difference. I think they all, and Gunnar as well. And I think we kind of saw their brand of hockey on Saturday night with the fisticuffs and what have you. It's just a little bit more open and more aggressive. I'm not going to say there's less skill because some very skilled players down there. Johnny Walker being one of them, right? So it's just different from my perspective, maybe not the league's perspective.
Question for both of you guys. Brad, you were here from the start. Marty, you've been here from the start. From where we came from 5 years ago to a weekend like last weekend, regular season matchup with record-setting crowds, 1,500 people, 1,400 people. How much pride do you guys take in that? Marty, you first. I mean, obviously that says a lot about what you're doing behind the bench and the organization as well.
Well, I'm proud of where our organization is today for sure. And looking back on that first year, we had a great core group of fans as well, and obviously we didn't have a lot of success on the ice, but in turn they supported us through thick and thin, and it's nice to see them get rewarded as well as us in the standings. And we certainly are going in the right direction. It's an exciting time with our organization moving into a new arena, and I think the best is yet to come.
Mr. Porter, for you, I mean, 1,500 people in the seats and people going bananas, that has to make you happy as well, right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's night and day because we've had great fans from the very beginning. But certainly the understanding of the game, the crowd being in it the whole game, it's definitely different. And the progress, it's just speaks volumes for our program. I think that it's come so far, and the quality of the players have increased. From a recruiting standpoint, players want to come here, and that's a good thing.
Marty, you mentioned the new arena, and with the season tickets for next year going on sale this week and fans coming in being able to pick their seats, there's definitely some excitement about the move. Are you guys seeing that excitement as well from potential players who want to come here to play next year and beyond?
Absolutely. One of the things that everybody asks is, about the amenities, the workout facilities, what you do on a weekly basis. And when we can throw in a new arena and a brand new locker room and, some of the comforts you'll have when you come to Minot, it's a huge recruiting tool. And our players aren't handed everything, but we feel as though they're treated very, very well, and we put our organization up against anyone in the league.
On to business this weekend, Marty. You guys are at Brookings for 2, and boy, this race inside the Central couldn't get much tighter. 54 points for Brookings and Minnesota, Aberdeen with 53. Those 3 teams are trying to get in. Do you have any concern with your team being in second place? You guys are locked in for home ice. You're going to be playing one of the hungriest teams in the league. Is there any concern going down there kind of into a dogfight against a team that's dying to get into the playoffs?
I'm happy that they're where they are in the standings, to tell you the truth, Nick. One of my biggest fears is looking at that last weekend segment and having Brookings being eliminated from the playoffs, because then you never know what's going to happen. And Brad touched on it. We had some instances last weekend where some suspensions came out and things like that. So with them being right in the thick of a playoff race and holding that 4th spot right now, it's going to be hopefully just hockey, and we certainly don't want to lose anybody to suspensions or injuries going into the playoffs.
For you, the other question I have for you, and it's fun this time of the year, how tough is it for you guys to decide your lineup? I talk about your depth every week, but that's got to be a tough job.
It's very tough, and it's a good problem to have as a coach. But at the same time, you feel for the players that aren't in, all the time, and it's a tough decision. And we have 23 guys that are deserving to play, and you have to pick 20 to go in there, and it's. I've told the guys I lose sleep over it, and I really do, and because I've been in that situation before, and sitting out at times, it's not easy, but they've all handled it very well. They've been exceptional teammates, and ultimately that's what you need if you're going to be a championship team.
Brad, we talk about moving into the playoffs now with the postseason coming and the new playoff format with the Final Four being at the neutral site. I know it's gone back and forth over the last few years. What is the feeling among the owners about putting the Final Four at a neutral site as opposed to allowing the home team fans to get a chance to watch the playdown series?
Well, I've always been a proponent of the hometown fans. Everybody knows that. These guys work hard, 60-plus games in the regular season to get there, and then to only have 100 so people watching, that's just not fair. In this case, I'm kind of torn. I would certainly love for our fans to be able to experience that in our own rink, especially going forward would be, 2,200 fans. It would be great. But, when you go to Minnesota, it's not where they have been in the past. They've been great like they've been organized very well, but they just don't have the fan base. And I think in Minnesota, you're going to see, because of the close proximity of a number of teams and the interest there, I think that the players are going to experience a great week, if you will, and then the final games, there'll be guys, I'm hoping for 1,000+ fans there watching them and cheering them on, so that it is truly an experience of winning the Robbie Cup and not just, playing for it.
Sure, I know. I talked to a few of our fans. There's already talk of if we make that Final Four of getting a bus together, and so I wouldn't be shocked to see just a couple hundred people from Minot make the trip. I think it being in Minnesota, yeah, it's not the Mesa, but it should still be a pretty fun atmosphere with a lot of Tauros fans.
I would fully expect a Minot tailgate in that parking lot, and it will be fun.
I have nothing left to say. Let's get to the postseason, man. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thanks for coming in. We'll take a look at the goals from this last weekend and be back with Chase Springman and Sam Foose after this here on Tauros Weekly.
Over to Jennings. Jennings has Springman going. The shot, it's in. Jennings from behind the net makes it off Carlson, and the Tauros lead 1-0. 3-on-2, 4-on-2 if the Tauros hurry. Mose is the trigger man. Finds Diddle. Diddle, tip play, and it's in! Murphy! Works it to the front, but only Max Metler was there. Fires up, finds Springman into the zone. Springman for Berg. Berg, backhand, save made, follow try, it's in! Frets! Tauros lead! Feeds Martinson while eluding a check. Martinson cuts him in the middle. Feeds Bross. Bross walks in. Save made. Rebound is in. Mose back to Deuce. Kick to the stick does Deuce and then plays to Springman. Gets it back. Leaves off Mose. Mose. Side of the net. It's in! Reisinger! Tauros lead 2-1.
Welcome back inside the locker room here for Tauros Weekly. Joining us now, Chase Springman, Sam Foose. Welcome in, guys.
Thank you for having us.
I guess Springer, we'll start with you. A big fight on the weekend. Let's start right there. I'm sure that's what fans want to talk about.
Yeah, it was my first fight, and it was a good one, so I was happy with it.
It got started after Nate was already going with someone else. What led to that fight getting going?
Just a lot of talk. Both teams were kind of trying to push each other around, so I guess we just let them know we weren't going to be pushed around.
A little bit of message sending for the playoffs then?
Yeah, for sure.
On that same note, Springman, when we've got record-setting crowds in here for a regular season game, what's that like? What's the adrenaline rush like after that when you got 1,500 people on their feet going absolutely bananas after a fight like that?
I don't even remember it. I kind of blacked out. It was so unreal, but I don't know. It was really special.
Sam, how about for you playing in front of a crowd that big, 1,500 people here, a regular season record on Friday night. We had 14-20 something on Saturday, a couple of really good crowds here. Does that get you guys excited for the playoffs?
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, the crowd with all the loud noise and everything, the atmosphere is awesome, so it really helps us get mentally focused for the game and just help us all around.
Question I have for you, knowing your high school past and what you did at Edina and the success you had there, how much of that confidence carries over from the high school ranks to the junior level? Has that helped you quite a bit, would you think?
Yeah, I mean, Edina was a good place for me to be in high school. It was, obviously, we were a pretty good team, so it has given me a lot of confidence to come here and step up and play well, so I think, yeah, it's good.
Now, I believe the Final Four is in your home rink.
It is, yeah.
What would it mean to you to get to go back as a junior player now and get to play back where you played your high school hockey and maybe win some hardware?
That would be pretty awesome to go back to the stomping grounds and hopefully bring back the Robertson Cup. Maybe we can get a student section there too to cheer us on.
Now, we're talking about high school a little bit. Talk about just being a rookie and making that transition. And Chase, you made that same transition from high school to junior last year. Is it easier in the second year?
Yeah, it's definitely easier. The hardest part is the speed, and everything happens just a half a second quicker. So once you kind of get that down, the game kind of slows down for you, and it just gets easier with time.
Sam, what about the length of the season? The junior season's a lot longer than high school.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we played 30 games last year to compare to this year. We played 60, but when you got veterans on the team like Springer and Brandt to help you along the way, it's pretty easy to transition.
For you, Chase, looking at some numbers, 66 points in your career, 4th overall for Tauros all time. Did you know about that record or where you're at in the standings? And number 2 on that question is, what do you say the reason is that you've been so successful here in Minot?
I did not know. I kind of just hear what Ken tells me, so I just go with that. And successful, just put in the right opportunities and kind of make the most of them.
Now, Sam, you're a different type of defenseman. You block more shots than I think anyone I've ever seen in a Tauros uniform. What's the mentality with that? I mean, it takes a special kind of guy. You're not wearing all the goalie gear to just go ahead and get down in front of one of those pucks.
I don't know how it really happened, but once high school came around, I just started blocking shots, and I was pretty good at it. So I just always block shots. I don't really have a mindset. It just kind of happens. I don't know.
Is it something you work on during the week? You're so good at getting in lanes. I see a lot of other guys, both around the league, who try and block shots. It just seems like you have a knack for getting in the way.
I don't know. I never really do work on it. I just kind of get in the way, I guess.
I think he just kind of gets lucky.
Yeah, I don't know what happens.
For you guys moving forward with the playoffs right around the corner, do you guys have personal goals, or is it all team stuff at this point in the year?
100% all team stuff. Kind of put those aside when you get to this point in the season. You just want to keep on going as long as you can.
With the Toro Awards coming up on Wednesday night, what would it mean to you guys to grab some of those awards? Is that something that you guys talk about in the room, whether it's the MVP award, the hardest worker, any of those awards, or is that just something that it's nice to get, but not something you guys really think about?
I think it would be really nice to get just because it's a team vote, so you know that all your teammates think that about you. But if you don't get something, I mean, it's not the biggest deal. You just because everyone's part of the team, so.
Yeah, I agree with Springer. I'm not too worried about the awards coming up as long. I don't know. I just want to win the Robbie Cup.
So there's one award that wasn't voted on by the players or coaches, and that's the fan favorite award. Who do you guys think has the inside track on that one this year?
Besides myself, I would probably have to go with Jared Brandt.
I'm not sure.
I have one final question that I have for you guys before we get into our Facebook questions of the week. Both of you guys have pretty much been steady Eddies in the lineup all year long, and this is a hard lineup to get into. This is a good hockey team. There's a lot of good, healthy scratch players every single night. For you guys, can you talk a little bit about how hard those guys are pushing you every single night, and how tough it is to get into this lineup, and how good this hockey team really is with the depth that's on this club?
Yeah, definitely. We have an unreal group of guys from all of our defensemen to our forwards, and it is very, very tough to make the lineup every night. You just got to work hard, and then on Monday when you get to practice, you just got to pretend like it's your job and just do whatever it takes to get noticed by the coaches, I guess.
Well, being scratched sucks, so obviously you never want to be in that position, but we have such a good team that some nights you got to just bite the bullet and sit one out, but like all the guys who don't play as much, I mean, they work hard every day at practice, and they're just as deserving as anybody else, but our depth is just so good, so that's how it is.
Now, we open it up every week to questions from fans. We have Chris Gillespie checking in on Facebook. What's each of your nicknames from your teammates, assuming they're appropriate that we can talk about them here on the show? And why do they call you that?
I guess mine's Springer. Everyone just calls me that because I guess I'm always like in a good mood. I don't know. Sounds good.
My nickname is Foo, and that was given to me by this kid right here.
Sorry.
I think we were in Richfield, and we were doing a little rap battle between me and Springer, and he called me Foo, and then everyone loved it, so it just stuck ever since.
I thought we had a good one from Ken Sisk, a gentleman that helps us out with some PA from time to time. If you guys weren't able to play hockey, what would you like to do instead if hockey wasn't your career path?
I'd probably be a professional golfer with the Masters coming up and stuff. I mean, it can't be that difficult.
Me, I'd probably be a comedian because I'm a pretty funny guy, so people laugh at me.
Another one from Twitter, Josh Coonrod checking in. For both of you, what's it going to take to make it farther in the playoffs than any other Tauros team? Seems like every time we've come up against Austin, we've gotten bounced. What's it going to take to lift the Central Cup this year and hopefully move on and get the Robbie?
I think it comes down to like your group of guys, and I think we got a really good group, and our coaches are obviously do a tremendous job of putting us in the right situations and stuff. So just doing like what we know we can do, and just like making it happen, I guess.
Going off what Springer said, I think we just got to play how we have all season. I mean, we've been pretty hot the last couple months here, and just got to keep rolling.
Final one from Stephen Chase. What advice do you guys have for Tauros rookies that will be joining the team in the near future?
Just work hard in the summer and just know that it's a long time to be with people, so just have fun. If you get scratched or something like that happens, don't worry about it. Like, it happens to everyone, so.
Go on, pretty much same thing as Springer said. Good. Work hard all season, and make sure you do your rookie duties in the locker room too, like cleaning the locker room up and doing puck walk and all things like that. It's really important.
I didn't check in on Facebook, but I want to know, since you guys seem like you'd have good answers for this, who's a better hockey player between you two? If either of you guys were to get drafted right now by, or to go somewhere, who would be higher in the draft bin?
It's not really a question. I mean, obviously me, but I'm sure you'll have something to say.
I don't really know about that. I think I'm the better player, but we'll just let the fans decide for the fan favorite.
Okay, there you go.
All right, that'll do it for us. Check this out. Actually, Nick and Chase are going to go out on the ice here after this and show you how Chase got all those 66 points that have him fourth all time.
On this week's edition of Tauros Weekly, we're with Chase Springman, forward for the Minutemen Tauros, and we want to talk about his slap shot a little bit today. Chase, first of all, tell us about how much time you put into that hard shot that you've got.
Work on it pretty much every day. It never stops, so I think that's real important, having a good shot and whatnot.
Talk about, if you're a young hockey player, the importance of shooting pucks in the summer and just taking the time to do that.
Yeah, I figured the best spot to do that is in your garage. I used to shoot a lot of pucks in my garage, and it really paid off. So,
I know Marty was saying that he was working with you today on a quick release of this shot. Talk about that a little bit and how much mechanics goes into that and coaching throughout the year.
Marty's always played in the NHL, so he's got a lot of people that he knows how they shoot the puck. We were talking about Paul Correa today and how quick he could get off his one-timer, and it's a little different, so it's always worth a try.
All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to feed you some one-timers today, and you're gonna give us an explanation of how exactly this shot works.
Yeah, the first key is obviously to be in a good hockey position, so you're kind of low, so you can shift your weight easier instead of just standing straight up. It's just not quick enough, so you got to be in a nice hockey stance and have your stick pointed at the net where you're gonna shoot.
Let's see it. Where do you want that puck at when you're gonna get a one-timer?
I want the puck right at like my back foot, kind of in the middle of my body, and then my back foot.
Okay.
Just everyone's different, so that's where I like it.
And you like it nice, a nice hard pass.
Yeah, it's got to be crisp, otherwise it's kind of hard.
Let me try to give you a couple. What's the difference in a game between being out here on the ice right now with guys all over you, guys running at you, trying to take your head off and stuff like that? I mean, you got to make that happen pretty quick, eh?
Yeah, especially, like I said, the goalies are so good. A lot of them are drafted, so they're really good. They're really good at getting across really fast, so it is very difficult.
For you, when you're taking these one-timers, are you picking spots on the net? Are you trying to aim for spots on the net, or are you just trying to get it there?
It depends. On some goalies, you're just trying to get it there. Other ones, you're trying to really get your spot.
So an old hockey game is called post. So we're going to play just a quick game of post to see who's a better shot. We're aiming for the crossbar, one puck each. Springer, you're up first, buddy.
Welcome back inside the Tauros locker room. We're going to put a cap on week 3 of Tauros Weekly. Nick, another fun one.
Yeah, my back hurts a little bit. I haven't been on ice for quite a while. I was out there feeding Springman those one-timers, and I think he was impressed with how hard I could pass the puck, but he definitely beat me in that game of post. I mean, it was a great time having those guys here, and Foose and Springman are fun to talk to, and nice to hear Brad Porter's thoughts. I think that's always interesting to get a different perspective. You know, you're the radio guy, I'm the PA guy. You get a couple players in here, a rookie, a vet. You get Marty, who's the coach, and then you get the owner's thoughts on things. I think this has been a fun week of Tauros Weekly.
Certainly, and we talked a little bit about moving the Final Four, not doing the full play down And, it makes sense. We're in Minnesota. It'll be in Minnesota. It's not too far. I know a lot of Tauros fans have talked about possibly making the trip. So hopefully that's a problem we have.
Yeah, I've been a part of a few Robertson Cup championships. There was one in Bismarck back in 2004. I was at the Robertson Cup in St. Louis back in 2008. And even if the Tauros aren't in, it's pretty exciting to be a part of it. And with it being that close, I think it's definitely something that you might want to, as a big hockey fan, if you're there, I think you might want to put on the map and at least talk about going over to see who's going to get crowned the champion of the North American Hockey League that continues to grow and continues to produce better players. It's going to be a great time.
Now, before we let everyone get out of here, let's talk a little bit about the weekend coming up. We've got Brookings to close out the regular season, which is actually where we opened the regular season so many months ago. Season set that the Tauros on paper at least have dominated 7-1-2 against these guys and outscored them 41-21. What do you think the atmosphere, or what do you think the goal will be going into the weekend?
I think the goal on the weekend is getting 2 wins. I mean, in my mind it is, obviously with Chase and Bismarck down, talking to Marty Murray and just saying, hey, do you have any concern that we're already locked in? This team's fighting for their playoff lives. Are you worried that we're going to get shell-shocked a little bit? And I think that's my concern. Knowing the Tauros, knowing how hot they've been, knowing our record against them, it's a concern that I think can kind of be put on the back burner. I think it's going to be, 120 minutes of hard-fought hockey. I think we're going to go down there and do our best and look for 4 points.
Now, I think the key to stopping these guys, that first weekend when we opened the season down there, we let guys like Kane Dermett and Mikael Häkkarainen put up a ton of points against us that opening weekend. Dermett has 3 goals, 6 assists against us. Häkkarainen a goal and 5 assists. Those guys put up some good numbers that opening weekend, but it seemed like after that weekend, if we bottle up those 2 guys, they haven't been able to get much depth scoring against us.
Plain and simple, and not trying to overstep any boundaries here, but we're a better hockey team. I think you can see that by the numbers. You can see that by the standings. This deep into the season, numbers aren't going to lie to you. I mean, we're a team coming in with 74 points. We got 20 more points than they do. I think that if they get down to the nuts and bolts of it and play their game, I think the Tauros have a good shot at winning those games. And I think you're right. You shut down those 2 top dogs and work on the PK that's been phenomenal as of late. The power play's been good. I think those things, along with some good goaltending, and I think the Tauros are going to look okay.
All right, Nick, so who do you think, who should Tauros fans keep an eye on as we go down to Brookings this weekend?
Well, if you look back to last week's 3 Stars of the Weekend, brought to you by Liberty Tax, and great sponsors those guys are, by the way, sponsoring that final home game of the year. Jennings had that goal. He's one of our Stars of the Week. He was injured Saturday night, but he played Friday night, and I thought he did a great job. Rivers made 30 saves on Friday night for the win. He continues to tear Christian Moe's 99 points out of the year. He's going to be looking for number 100. I think that's big. But Tyler Jeanson, 2 goals, 7 assists against these guys on the season. He's been a leader in the series. And then Jennings, 4 goals, 4 assists as well. I mean, I think those are the guys that you got to keep an eye on. But as a team, I think that the message that I take out of this week's Tauros Weekly and asking Marty the questions and asking Springman the questions, this is a tough team to get into the lineup on. This is a good team right now. And I think that the message from not only the players but the coaching staff as well is that, hey, we're a team and we win as a team, we lose as a team, and we're going to go down there and everyone's going to need to give a full effort and try to prevent Brookings from getting in and try to maybe win a banner for the Central Division Championship regular season.
And at worst, move into the playoffs playing the best hockey they've been playing all year.
Which is a worst case scenario that's a pretty darn good case.
All right, well, that'll do it for us this week here on Tauros Weekly. We'll be back next week. We already know who next week's guests are. I've already lined it up. We're going to have Captain Jared Brandt and Tauros all-time leading scorer Christian Moes. They're going to be sitting in with us next weekend. So go ahead, fire off your questions on Twitter. Tweet them at the team at Minotauros Hockey. Tag them with the hashtag Tauros Weekly. We'll have a couple of big-name guys in here next weekend.
Yeah, that should be fun. Let's think of something fun to do. Maybe a little segment like we did with Springman today. Maybe we can play a game of ping pong. You and I against those 2. I think that could be kind of fun.
That could be fun. We maybe do something like that. So we'll be in next week with Tauros Weekly. We hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you tomorrow night at the Tauros Awards Banquet.